Hour number 2 rolling along right here on the early line on a Thursday morning, and it's a big-time Thursday morning. Why? Of course, we love college basketball. The Sweet 16 starting tonight, but even more important for us baseball heads, Major League Baseball opening day back in a big way, and no better person to bring on right now than Tom Vecchio from the FanDuel Sportsbook here, the jack of all trades. Tom, get in here. Let's talk. It's Major League Baseball day.
Thanks for having me. I am super pumped to be here. I know you are big, especially day games in baseball season, getting those RBI props going. That's a super simple way to do things. I think we can continue to do that on a day-by-day basis, a little bit of a season preview. I'm ready to roll.
Let me ask you a quick question. Before we get into some of the odds here, World Series, and what you think of this season is going to happen, take me through your day as a handicapper early in the season and how you approach Major League Baseball season, which includes opening day.
Yeah, so starting off, we obviously want to look at I prefer to look at player props. I always want to be starting off with a pitcher, hitter kind of mix, bad pitchers, essentially. I want to find the path of least resistance. Just grab something at close to even money or plus money, especially when it comes to RBI, something that can be so variable. Also, there's multiple ways for a player to get an RBI. He doesn't even have to get a hit, a walk, a sac fly, whatever it might be. So always starting off by looking at the pitchers, and then we got to factor in something like the parks. There's a wide variety of parks, Citi Field for the Mets, the Marlins Park, San Francisco. These are heavy pitcher parks. So we generally want to look towards good hitting environments combined with the pitchers, something along those lines. And then if we have a pitcher that's in a particularly great spot, a high strikeout pitcher, looking to do something potentially a ladder with his strikeout. So pitching, hitting, you can go a variety of different ways when it comes to starting your daily process.
Over the years for me, Tom, it was usually, the evolution of sports handicapping, right, was, just take a side in baseball, then you might look at some totals, then team totals were a big rage here, but I had more fun and more profitability last year taking those RBI props and laddering them. 1 RBI, 2 RBI, they're big prices, so much fun to root in. FanDuel Sportsbook has all of that for us here, but let's get into some of the odds. It is opening day. Theoretically, every team in Major League Baseball thinks they can make a run to the World Series. Now, us as handicappers know that's probably not going to be the case, and some of these prices do show it at 250 plus to 1 to win the World Series. But if we're stacking the deck and looking up top, Tom, it's the Dodgers, Braves, Astros, Yankees under 10 to 1, followed by the Rangers, Orioles, Phillies, Blue Jays, and Mariners at that 20 to 1 price. Looking forward to this Major League Baseball season with some of these futures. Who has your attention here?
Yeah, like you guys talked about in the previous segment, I have no interest in the Dodgers or the Braves. I think we all understand how good they are, but those numbers are just something I have no interest in. The team that you guys kind of briefly mentioned in the last segment would be the Giants. We expect them, they can win a wild card, and when it comes to the postseason, it's that frontline pitching. Like I said last year with the Phillies, when they have Nola and Wheeler out there, I will take Snell and Logan Webb and maybe even Kyle Harrison stepping up, in a breakout season for him. The Giants have that pitching. That's what we want in the playoffs. We want pitching. That's what the Phillies have. That's what they've shown over the past few years. I wouldn't mind taking a shot on someone in the AL like the Mariners. They have that pitching that can also get there. So I'm not looking at the top for the Dodgers, the Braves, or even the Astros. I understand the Astros are great, but that's simply just not a number I want to be going to.
Exactly. It'd be one thing. It's like, hey, you take that number and in 2 weeks you can cash that ticket. You're waiting 6, 7, 8 months to cash some of those tickets here. It's crazy at some of those low points here. But let's take a look at a market that you were very successful in last year and one we love to cheer on, and that's the home run market. Olsen cashed tickets for you last year. If we're looking this year, it looks like Aaron Judge at a 7 to 1 price, Pete Alonso 8 to 1, Schwarber 9 to 1, and there's your boy Olsen at a 9 to 1 price. Approaching the home run leading market this year, who has your attention?
Like I said a couple of weeks ago, it would be Ronald Acuna. He was at 19 to 1. It's 14 to 1 right now. Still think that's a fine price. The number one spot that I'm going to be looking at is going to be Pete Alonso if that number drops to 12 to 1, 13 to 1, 14 to 1. I legitimately think Pete Alonso has it. He's in a contract year. He didn't get the extension. I think he's going to come out swinging this year. So not looking to take Pete Alonso right now, but once those odds change, if someone else gets off to a super hot start, Alonso at 12 to 1 is significantly different than Alonso at 8 to 1.
Tom Vecchio, great to have you here. The prop perspective on this opening day of a new season in Major League Baseball. As you look at some season specials around the FanDuel Sportsbook, some intriguing numbers there. A perfect game, plus 560 to the yes, heavily favored to the no. 5 or more no-hitters, 5+ cycles. Vecchio, have you looked at this market? And if so, what do you think happens this year in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, I looked at that market a couple of days ago, and I think the easiest one, the most realistic one, is probably just the cycle one. I think cycle is a little bit overhyped. It's kind of circumstantial. A player that can hit a triple, and oftentimes triples are misfielding where the ball gets hit off the wall or whatever. So just the variability of baseball. I think that the cycle one is maybe the easiest. The 4 home run one is obviously exciting. I think that's too much of a stretch. And then when it comes to the no-hitter, the perfect games, I think that is just a bit too much to ask for, especially in the hitting environment that we're seeing in today's MLB. So the cycle one is probably the easiest of those special routes.
A lot of fun ways to bet some of these prop bets season long, but also, Tom, some of these prop bets that you like to bet on opening day and cheer them on for the remaining parts of the regular season. Give us an opinion here on some of those guys that you're targeting.
Yeah, season-long bet would be Bobby Witt to lead the league in hits at 18-1. We got to understand what this is. It's a low probability outcome, but this is backed by strong projections. Last year, he had a 17.4% striker rate, which is super low, 295 BABIP, which is great, and then his underlying metrics, his xWOBA, his x-batting average, his x-slugging, were all in the 91st percentile or higher. He got that contract extension. We look to his projections on FanGraphs, and we can see that he's projected to be 5th, 6th, or 7th when it comes to total hits this season. And if we apply a little bit of variance to that, he can push towards the top 3. And at 18-1, that's a good ticket to have coming to the close of the season. I understand the Royals aren't the best offense, and there's other players like Bo Bichette or Freddie Freeman that are playing in significantly better offenses that just should have an easier path. But Bobby Witt, man, he is a player that can certainly get it done.
18-1 right there on Bobby Witt, a very happy man in Kansas City, signing that 11-year deal worth more than $288 million guaranteed earlier this offseason. Vecchio, you are our home run prop king and maybe a season-long K prop as well. Take us through the other 2 season-long prop bets that you've already made for MLB in 2024.
Yeah, that would be Adolis Garcia of the Texas Rangers, over 31.5 home runs. He has a ton of power. He had 31, 27, 39 home runs over the past 3 seasons. His ISO last year was up at 263. He has an immense amount of power. I've said it before. I said it to Kevin the other night. The problem with Garcia is he strikes out a lot. He swings and misses a ton, but he has immense power. When he makes contact, that ball is going a mile. So if he can cut down on the strikeouts just ever so slightly, he's going to be in a great spot. And as I mentioned with him, about him, the Rangers have an awesome lineup, so he's always going to see good pitches. Pitchers cannot pitch around him. And then when it comes to Nestor Cortez, he's not a dominant strikeout pitcher. He's going to be at 25, maybe 26% when it comes to the strikeouts. You know, he was dealing with injuries last year, and my concern with him is if there's a slightest bit of an issue with his injury, the Yankees are going to scale him back because they're already missing Garrett Cole. They don't want to strain their rotation overall, so I'll simply take the under with pitchers.
Speaking of Nestor Cortez, let's take a look at some of these games that are going to play today, 4:10 p.m. Eastern. We take a look at those Yankees and Houston Astros. Battle of the lefties here, Cortez versus Valdez. Favorite here at the FanDuel Sportsbook at a -152 price for Houston. If you want the dog price, that's a +128 on the Yankees, a total of 8.5. Opening day down in Houston. How about this rivalry? What are we looking at?
We're looking to keep things super simple with a Yankee killer. That is Jose Altuve for 2+ total bases. It was -105, -110. Immense numbers last year versus lefties, 136 WRC+. He's got a 367 WOBA, low 14% striker rate. He just simply doesn't waste chances. And while Cortez pitched a smaller sample size last year, he just wasn't good versus righties. A 520 xFIP and allowing 1.59 home runs per 9. Obviously, that's something Altuve can do. He's at the top of the lineup. He's going to get plenty of at-bats. It's probably going to happen on opening day because it's Altuve and the Astros.
How about this for a card? We are fading another pitcher in our second game of the day, that American League East divisional duel down to the Trop in Tampa. It's the Rays as a minus money favorite. Zach Eflin on the bump, -136. Jose Barrios gets the start on the other side for Toronto. Tom, what's the play here in this matchup between the Jays and the Rays?
That's under 5.5 strikeouts for Barrios. It was at -132. That number's moving, -140, -145. The problem is that he's not a dominant strikeout pitcher, and the Rays are super disciplined at the plate. Last year with their current active roster, they had a 22.1% striker rate, which is the 12th lowest in the league. They had a 117 WRC+, which is the 3rd highest in the league, and a 184 ISO, which was the 7th highest in the league. So Barrios, who had a 16% striker rate in spring training, granted a small sample size, he's not a pitcher that's going to be pumping a 28, 29, 30% striker rate. It's like 24%. So the Rays are disciplined at the plate and not giving away free chances. Barrios just simply isn't going to get it done.
Newly minted ace of the Baltimore Orioles, Corbin Burns, taking the mound today, 3:05 Eastern. Cooler conditions in Baltimore, about 50 degrees, wind blowing in, a total that's listed at 7.5 today between the Angels and the Orioles. A heavy favorite for Baltimore at -172. Any looks in this game for you, Tom?
Yeah, that's it's going to be looking to an RBI prop for Gunnar Henderson, and this is going to be the spot that we see the Orioles basically throughout the entire season. They're at home, they're favorites. Someone in their lineup is going to be grabbing RBIs. You know, Donnie, as you'll probably go into them this year, it's like, okay, whether it's Rutschman, whether it's Gunnar Henderson, Hayes, Mountcastle, doesn't matter. Santander, someone's going to be grabbing an RBI. So I'm simply going to take a player at plus 145 to get the year started. He's going to be hitting in the middle of the lineup. Yeah. Patrick Sandoval, while he's not a big fly ball pitcher, he's also not a big strikeout pitcher. He walks too many players. He gets hit around a lot. So good contact hitter with Henderson. Grab an RBI to start the season.
Let's go to the reigning National League pennant winners tonight at home in Phoenix. Zach Gallen, who was great at home last year in Arizona, gets the start on opening day for the Diamondbacks. They're greater than a $2 favorite against the Colorado Rockies. Vecchio, what's the breakdown here?
That's going to Christian Walker for a home run at plus 420. This is an awesome matchup versus Kyle Freeland. Last year, Walker had a 141 WRC plus a 319 ISO versus lefties, a 48.6% fly ball rate, and a 39.6% hard contact rate versus lefties, hitting that 40-40 line. And Kyle Freeland allowed 1.94 home runs per nine to righties, 40.6% fly ball rate, and 41.2% hard contact rate. You could say those numbers are inflated because he pitched at Coors Field, but he still allowed 2.2 home runs per nine versus righties in away games last year, along with a 40.2 and 38.6% fly ball and hard contact rate. This is an ideal spot for Christian Walker, who had a good spring training.
I mean, let's flash it once again. This is what you ask out of FanDuel's Tom Vecchio on opening day. 3 season-long props in Major League Baseball, a 4-play card, and I'm sure there's more on opening day for the 13 games that we have. Vecchio, a sincere thank you.